Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Day After Victory Show. I'm your host, Mr. Moohead. Today, I've chosen to do this show solo because I thought yesterday's post-game show was a train wreck. It was offensive, and it was wrong. So, I'm going back to my roots and doing things myself because that's the way it's got to be today. But I'm sure that will change in the future. So, with that said, this is supposed to be a day after victory show, and yesterday's program didn't at all really relate to the fact that we won the football game. And I don't know, losing your sense of being a fan is a difficult thing. And I would just say this, that winning is better than losing, even if you're not perfect. It's better than losing. So, what I'm going to do today is to quantify that statement by comparing our situation to other situations and go from there. It could be worse. You've got two teams in our division who are over, and they're the teams that were least expected to be over: the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I'm not reading all the articles that say, well, now there's only a 10% chance that they're going to be in the Super Bowl. Not reading that. That only gets printed about Cleveland, okay? Or other teams that have unfortunate pasts in the NFL. They don't talk about, Lamar Jackson might as well hang up the cleats this year because he ain't making the Super Bowl. No. How about Joe Burrow and his streaky blonde hair? No. And they're not losing to good teams. And right now, it's really hard to tell who the good teams really are. So I'll say this. Bengals, Joe Burrow sees the Kansas City Chiefs and finds a way to lose. And always will. Okay? So there's that. And they are 0-2. And the Ravens somehow found a way to lose to the Raiders. And that's the one thing. And David, yeah, that's right. The Bengals were one of those teams that was part of the 10% that lost their first two games and actually went to a Super Bowl. But they lost. So far, that's all they've done. Where's the Super Bowl on there and the league championship on their mantle? But I agree. No, I don't agree. They would much rather have the Ravens in there so they can justify this nonsensical plastering of Lamar Jackson as being like one of the greats of all time. Make that stop. Hello to Nathan Allen. How are you doing? And I am doing this show solo. I want to, but join me in the chat room because I'm more than happy to interact in a chat sense. But if the interest is to just get into shouting arguments, I don't want to do that because this is an uplifting program, by golly, and it has been for 22 years. Except during the Hugh Jackson period. Then it wasn't uplifting at all. It was downright mean-spirited. And I loved every minute of it. So right off the bat, we're better off than they are. All right? And the Steelers are in pig heaven because they're 2-0. And they've got a quarterback who doesn't have the foggiest notion what he's doing back there. But they're 2-0 because they have a methodology and they have a defense. Now let's talk about the good things that the Cleveland Browns did on Sunday. Just yesterday. First of all, they came out with an attitude to take that game on the road away from the home team, which we couldn't even do on our own home field. against an opponent who may be better or based on their second week performance may not be better than we are. All right. So this time we came out with purpose and we were tight. The scripted plays looked good. The ball was thrown on time. The offensive line was doing their blocking. There were holes for the running backs. There was enough pasture in front of the wide receivers that they were able to catch and hold on to the ball before they got smacked. Deshaun Watson was really good in the beginning of the game. Really good. And that goes with the scripted and practice plays because you know that Stefanski calling the plays, he will call the plays that he feels the team executes the best, not the ones that execute the downfield passing philosophy of Ken Dorsey, but those plays that they run that are more successful. And that turned out to be obvious, right? So there's that. They didn't lose the game because I've seen Browns teams during, the last couple of decades that honestly would have lost this game. They would have given up and made the absolute bum play that would have ended the game and ended their chance of winning. All right. They didn't do that. In fact, they did a couple of things that I thought were damn good. First of all, when Bojorquez made the play of the game for the Browns up to that point by knocking that ball out of bounds on the 2-yard line, we made the Jaguars pay for that. Now, in other situations, we'd have jumped off signs. We would have gotten a defensive holding, automatic first down. We would have given up a big play, but not yesterday. Yesterday, when they dropped back to throw, figuring same old Browns, we sacked the quarterback in the end zone and gave us a 5-point cushion so that a field goal would not tie that football game. And I consider that to be really good. And the fact that it was Alex Wright who did it, help off the bench that put pressure on when we needed it and finished and completed the sack. I thought that was fantastic. All right. Other things that we did really well. We did not let Fabio, sorry, that's what I call him. We did not let Fabio have a good game. We didn't let him have a good game last year. His game was so bad, he faked an ankle injury last year. And I have questions about Fabio, That's right, Brian. You watched the program. It ain't going to happen no more. It's like I woke up this morning and I said, it's my fucking podcast. Wait a minute here. Doesn't go that way. Yeah. There's too much of a rift and a split between fans. There really is. And there are some who really want the team to lose. There are some who are in just a perpetual state of anger. I'm happy we won. That's the significant thing. Second of all, people come to this podcast for a reason. And that reason is that there is reason to this program. It can be funny. It can be somber. It can be opinionated. It can be silly. But you know that what's coming out of my mouth is what I'm thinking at the moment. And that's why I do these shows this way. A pregame show where I say, the Browns are going to lose 30-14, which I did, to the halftime show where I was like, wow, we really look good, to the postgame show, which was like huge exhale and not feeling very good at all about the fact that, man, we out-possessioned them. We did things right and still almost had a bad result. But then I started really I started looking back at the game and saying, well, there are a lot of good things that happened. First of all, Jerry Jeudy had a good game. Now, I'm not going to say that, it wasn't like having a Jefferson game. Wasn't like, but, 5 catches for 73 yards helps the team tremendously. It really does. And that, was necessary because Amari Cooper had a really bad game. One thing that I did not mention in yesterday's program, now obviously the drops were obvious, but the one play that I just could not believe is when we threw the ball out in the flat to him, and instead of just falling forward and getting the first down, he went backwards behind the first down marker and got tackled. Now, that's something that Amari Cooper would not ever do in a million years. That guy does not make those kind of mental errors. That was a real surprise to me. And I was just shaking my big cow head. And that's why I was getting a little bit upset, because it was like, better than that. You move the chains. Right now, we got to move the chains. But yeah, people trying to do too much. And that's how you lose. I mean, just ask Stephen Kwan. The way you lose is you try too hard. You put undue pressure on yourself, and you end up not helping anyone, including yourself. Hey, Bronk, how you doing? Nice to see you. Bronk is like, what in the hell is going on here? And John doesn't understand that this is a solo show, and I don't want to have any, and John didn't have any contention on here. In fact, I'm going to do my first act of kindness here on the program. Bronk, you have the link. Pop on in, Bronk. And I'm going to pop Grasshoff in here too, by golly. Hey, John, you got your setup okay? Yeah, I'm okay with you. Yeah, you're a Floridian, and Bronk can get into. It's the arguing that I cannot have on the program. Plus, it was impossible. It was like herding cats on the program. Yeah,
Hey, Moo.
Yeah.
Years ago, before you existed in your podcast, I got on a chat room with Cleveland Browns fans, and I did this every Sunday. I'll tell you what, it was reminiscent of yesterday. Just a bunch of homers, a bunch of contention, fighting. It really was.
It's not something that I was proud of. Let's put it that way. And
you couldn't get a word in edgewise, to be honest.
And I wanted to point something else out too.
Yeah.
And that is, I have a medical condition, and the medical condition that I have is a spinal issue that is especially bad in the upper part of my back and in my neck. And what it will do is it will make me, it's like a balloon out of air. I was gasping for breath and I was lightheaded during the course of the show. And I allowed things to go on too long on that program, and I apologize for that. But I was not really in physical condition to do the show, but I wanted to do it because we had won the football game. So, hey, how you doing, Mr. Beast? How you doing? And we'll toss Broncola. Hi, Bronk. You know that I would never. Bronk's been a fixture on the program for a long, long time.
Since I can tell you how long it's been. 2008.
Wow.
It was after the just missed the playoff season of Romeo Crennel when we had Braylon Edwards and Kellen Winslow Jr. And I was watching your podcasts. Well, actually, you were like sort of half stream. You were watching a game with a cow, but you couldn't see the game. You could just hear it and see the reaction.
I didn't want to go to jail,
Yeah, because I think before you used to stream it back prior, and then so that season, and then after that, I started popping up on the program. I said, "What the fuck? Nobody's watching this. I can go on."
That's right.
And you had the Move phone, and you just. I finally figured
ring,
out how
ring,
to work.
ring, ring, ring,
Yeah.
ring, banana phone.
Basically, you
Yeah.
had, for people who don't know, you had a 1-800 number that you paid for out of your own pocket.
And you could hear me breathing heavily.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh,
And-
not that
and
kind of
everything.
1-8. Oh, that's a
Yeah,
1-900
exactly.
number. I'm sorry.
It was exciting to hear the 1-800 Move phone. But anyway, I think that was what the phone number was, or something similar. 1-800 blah blah blah. Anyway, I could access that from England, so I didn't have any call charges whatsoever, and which was a miracle back 16 years ago. Now we just take all this chat and for granted. So, and then you had Blog TV and Make TV and.
Hey, by the way, Brock, what do you do? Why are you in England?
I grew up in Parma, Ohio, and then I managed to get on a master's program here in London, and then got married, and then never left. So I've been living in the outside of London on the seacoast for about 30 years, and then I moved to Plymouth, which is on the southwest Channel coast.
Yeah.
Coast, 300 miles away. So I'm it's a big naval base here.
I was looking at the Cleveland.com people, and I think they're toxic in the way everything else has become toxic with fans.
Oh, they are.
Well,
they are.
That seems to be the way things are, and either
I'm
you like it or you lump it, or you just don't care about it, man. I mean, I don't really want to talk about yesterday's show because
let's move on.
I felt embarrassed for everyone, really.
Yeah, it was a bad situation.
Myself, so there you go.
But there's a headline: winners and losers for the Browns' victory. All right,
God.
There were no losers because the team won. All right, let's be clear that if we're down to assessing individual moments from 53 players or whatever, I mean, then what are we down to, for God's sakes? It's foolishness. But they say the winners, Kevin Stefanski and Ken Dorsey. It's like I don't see any impact that Ken Dorsey has had on this team.
None whatsoever.
Predicated on what he was brought in to bring to the team. What I saw was scripted plays that were truly in the Kevin Stefanski mold. Now, I'm not complaining about it because they needed to come out and win. And so they came out and they did what they were supposed to do. So I'm not complaining about it. But it's the reason, and again, asking a question here, why do I torture myself? I don't torture myself. What I do is I illustrate what I'm saying so that people understand what the negativity it is and where it comes from and how pervasive it is in local and national media. Now, saying that Kevin Stefanski and Ken Dorsey were winners, and then the next breath saying that Dustin Hopkins was a loser, because I'm telling you what it says.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I it's like the guy's been the best kicker we had since Phil Dawson. All right.
Yeah. I agree with that.
And he scored 10 of the 18 points in yesterday's football game.
Who was bitching about him?
On Cleveland.com. They have to have winners and losers. And why? It should just be about winning. And that's what today's show is about. It's about winning because that's what we did.
Yeah.
But because he made a mistake on the kickoff.
It went over.
And he went over the 50-yard line.
Yeah, he had the penalty. Yeah.
But let's not forget that the officials on the kick that the Jaguars were first setting up, which was an onside kick, that the referees didn't even know the rules.
Right.
And it took forever to establish that he had to punt the ball.
Correct.
As opposed to that he had to punt it as opposed to.
There was no opportunity for onside kick after a safety. Have you ever seen one? Because there isn't an opportunity for it. Yeah.
So, again, to call him a loser when he scored 10 of the team's 18 points is absolutely atrocious.
Yeah. Without him, we don't win.
That's right.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yep.
The winner, Mad Dogs. Now, I don't know what that means,
Who's that?
it was that the defense rose to the occasion. So let's just say that it was the defense. Well, I don't know what that means, because this is not, when you have 11 men simultaneously on a field, this is not a one-man game. And if you're going to judge the game by, Myles Garrett getting tackled over and over again,
correct.
The question is, who stood tall when it mattered? And that'd be Alex Wright. Because when the game was really on the line, 3 points apart, and all they had to do, Bojorquez did his job on special teams, kicking him out of bounds at the 2. But they still could have gone down the field and either tied the game with a field goal, and that would have been really bad, or they could even have scored a touchdown. But instead, Alex Wright played off of Myles Garrett, got an inside step as a result, and sacked Trevor Lawrence in the end zone. And so that makes the defense a winner, because they played together. They had a common purpose and a common cause. And that makes all of them winners. There were no losers. And how in the world you can say that Kevin Stefanski and Ken Dorsey were winners, but Deshaun Watson wasn't? Yes, he was, because he got us off to a fast start and with a difficult front line, and he showed more evasiveness in the second game than he did in the first, and he showed more athleticism. With that said, even Kevin Stefanski said he was mad at Watson because of the play we talked about on the show yesterday, in which he rolled out the opposite way and stopped the clock for them. And he was not supposed to do that. From what I'm gathering, he kind of went on his own and audibled into that or something, because Stefanski was not happy with that. But what I want to do is I want to point out that if you're going to look at one play, take another game and take a look at what Levis, the quarterback for the Titans, did when they had a chance to win their game and prevent themselves from going 0-2. And they have the ball in the shadow of the goal line, not their own, but their opponents. And Levis goes back to pass, looks, sees nobody open, starts to scramble up the middle, and at the last minute throws a backward lateral that the other team recovers. So there you have that. It could be worse. That's what I say. If you want to talk about bad plays. And if you don't believe me, just all you have to do is listen to Callahan, Bill Callahan's son, who is coaching the Titans. And he was seen on television after that play saying, "What in the fuck are you doing?" Literally. And this is verbatim. Yes.
Wow, I'll have to check that out.
In his press conference, he apologized. He goes, "It was an unfortunate time for the TV cameras to be on me. But yes, on national television, yes, that's what I said."
You got a green screen going on there, John?
A what?
A green
screen.
screen.
Do I?
It looks like it.
Yeah, they have. We check this out.
Yeah, because it's like,
I got. Did you see my helmet?
yeah, we see
Yeah, I
your
do.
helmet.
I bought this in Mexico.
Wow.
It's in metal.
Oh, it's a bullfighting helmet. I've seen those.
Yeah, they had these for all the NFL teams.
Do you know what it is? That was for the Bulls team. And the reason is because it's all bull hide. There's no logo.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
So
this
that-
is the
if that's
this
a
is for the
matador,
Browns.
that's the bull wears that, and the matador gets gored, and the bull is awarded that helmet.
Ah,
Yeah. So I mean, there's a story
Well,
behind
you would know
everything.
about this being the same species as the bull, so there you go.
so wait a minute. If I got a green screen, I got
It
to
looks
change
like it.
this. I got to.
Well, no, it's not green. You got a grand piano in the background, plus a
Yes.
beautiful lounge suite.
Yeah, it's
So-
bullshit. It's a scene I just picked.
All right. Yes.
Anyway,
Well,
whatever.
it-
Go ahead,
it's-
move.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that you give credit where it's due, and when somebody makes a play that may not be the best play, you got to take the game into totality, and you just can't start calling people losers. And the last thing is that discipline. The Browns lack discipline, and I
There you
agree
go.
that you
That's
cannot
better.
have 100 yards, 13 penalties for 100 yards, and win very many football games. That's too great a subtraction, and this has been a problem in the early going this season. And
Yeah, I like the brick wall better.
yeah,
So,
it's a brick. Ow!
Ow!
We're mighty.
Mighty, mighty.
Oh, speaking of
See-
people dying, did you see the oldest Jackson brother died?
Tito's
Yeah,
gone.
Tito.
Yeah,
Who?
Tito's dead. The guy
Tito
who
Jackson
started
of the
Jackson
Jackson
5.
Five.
Oh, really?
Yep,
How
dead.
many are left? How many are left?
Well,
Oh.
3 at the most.
Yeah, 3 because the
I don't know for sure.
two are definitely
2 are
gone
definitely
now.
dead.
The king of pop is definitely gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pepsi generation.
Oh, my hair!
Ah!
Too soon.
And then the last winner they came up with was Bojorquez, who did his job. I mean,
Oh man, he's
yeah,
good.
that's what he's supposed to do.
look, I
He's
mean,
good.
he dropped the punt down really nicely. He's done a great job for the Browns. He's got a big leg, but I got to be honest with you, you can't control that ball going out at the 2-yard line, and you can't call him one of the sole winners of the game because he happened to kick one out of bounds at the 2. He did
Yeah.
his job, and it worked out well, and he's been doing his job for
Yeah.
some time. He's also proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that it wasn't his holding that caused Cade York's problems. So in that
Correct.
result, he's a winner in that regard as well.
Because we were all ready to blame him for Cade York, and
Yeah, it
yeah,
seemed
we
like
were. Anyway.
yeah. So there's a lot of things good about the game. The sense that we controlled the time and we
Yeah.
stepped up when we had to.
Yes.
And I wanted to mention Fabio, Trevor Lawrence,
He's
but
gorgeous.
I call him Fabio.
He's beautiful. He's
Yeah.
got the hair. He's like 6'5". and-
Not
Yeah.
so beautiful if you're a fan of theirs, but
If you're
after
gay.
2 games and what I saw last season, I think this player is vastly overrated.
Oh God,
and-
yes.
And
He's
he
not
doesn't.
John Elway. He is not. No.
He made one long throw, and for the rest of the game, he really did nothing. And
Yep.
he should never have eaten that ball in the end zone. He should have found a way to get rid of it.
he
Instead,
did.
he held on to it.
He did have a nice scramble.
Yeah, I mean, he's mobile, but I mean,
Yep.
he's not mobile like Lamar Jackson is mobile. He doesn't have a cannon for an arm.
Right.
He's
just
middle tier. He's like
Yeah.
in the top 15 to 30 quarterbacks. He's not in the top 15.
Hey, let me ask, would you take him over Baker?
Ooh.
Would I take him
Take him
over
over
a Baker?
Yeah.
Maybe. Wow.
Not the Baker or a Baker?
No,
Hey,
no,
Baker.
yeah, Baker. No,
Because I
Baker
like
May-
cookies and I
Baker-
like bread.
Nah, Baker Mayfield. Would you take him over Baker Mayfield?
I don't even know who Baker Mayfield is. I'm sorry.
Ah,
Don't know. And that's right.
wow.
Fabio does have a big Roman nose.
He
He
does.
really does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, actually, that's not all. because
His
Fabio's
biggest
other
dickus.
nickname, his biggest dickus. That's
I
absolutely
knew you were
right.
going there.
You know me
You
too
call
well.
me Big Nose? And you know his wife's name. In company,
God. And DJ Brobot, you know, I don't know. You got to be sending this stuff into the league at this point.
correct.
You know, him being dragged to the ground time and time again.
Well, but the worst play was Denzel Ward getting blindsided and
In the middle of a
mugged,
pattern, yeah.
and they
That's the ultimate rub off.
yeah.
God almighty.
Surprised his head didn't get separated on that one.
Hey,
And
don't make fun of Joe Don Baker. He's been in some great movies. He
Yeah,
really has.
Carry a big stick.
Yeah, well, he was. Well, yeah. Everyone remembers Walking Tall, but they don't remember Mitchell.
No, I don't.
Wow.
Mitchell was such a bad movie. They showed it on Mystery Science Theater 3000, and
He's
it was
still
not
alive.
it's not a sci-fi movie. No, it's just so incredibly bad. You just have to see that to believe it. Really, it was.
Wow.
Yeah, but don't make fun of Joe Don. Joe Don is like my man.
He is still alive, and he was in his first movie
Really, he's still alive.
was Cool Hand Luke. He was in that.
Oh,
Can you imagine that? And he was in Cape Fear. He was in Goldeneye. He was in
what was he?
Joe
One of the,
Dirt.
what was he? One of the inmates in?
I would imagine so.
Yeah, I don't recall seeing him.
Yeah.
There you go.
So
Whatever.
and Tom, that's right. 10 for 10 on field goals over 50 yards. And that's another thing I wanted to point out because I'm glad you brought this up. Is how many kicks over 50 yards we're seeing around the league. It's become commonplace now.
The field goal kicking is superb this year.
Teams are lining up for 59 and 62-yard field goals this year.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. It really is. But
I'll make a prediction about field goals. I reckon that field goals over 50 yards will start counting 4 points instead of 3, a bit like the 3-point line in basketball. I think you'll see like longer field goals, and they'll give it an extra point for them.
I'll disagree with that for this reason. They don't want to see the game come down to field goals, so that'll never happen.
Yeah, but they want to see last second betting shenanigans go on. So point shaving opportunities that they would have with that, with fuckers taking a 68-yard field goal when they're down by 3, and then they can win the game by 1 point.
Yeah, honestly, the way I started the program, the Ravens are 0-2 and the Bengals are 0-2, and
which is nice.
Cleveland fans will find something to complain about no matter what, and this isn't the place. I mean, believe me, when there's good reason to complain, when it's
we're there
week after week after week. During the Huey Jackson, the revolutionary leader of the Cleveland Browns from days gone by, he ruined the entire psyche of the team, and was just incredibly unaware of his responsibility. I mean, he made it into a I'll jump in the lake. If we lose again, they lose again. And I'm going to jump in the lake. It's like, I don't think that he realized that people wanted him to jump in the lake so they could hold his head under until he expired. I mean, I don't think he realized that. And that's incredible when you're so bad at what you do that you don't realize your own responsibilities.
Well, that Hard Knocks program really exposed him as a really sort of unlikable, uncaring, two-faced motherfucker, basically. And to such an extent that when his brother died tragically or whatever, in the middle of the series, hardly any fucking sympathy came out in his direction because he is the way he is.
Yeah, he's not a sympathetic figure. And
and people just
he's always been at odds with people everywhere, in Oakland and in Cleveland and in college when he went back to coach. He's been at odds with everybody he's ever worked with. He's just bad news. And the fact that Tucker is having a problem kicking field goals, you know, there is always a point at which kickers peak. I remember when Don Cockcroft was the Browns kicker, and he was really good, but it kind of went downhill. He was a straight ahead. He wasn't a soccer style like they all are now. He was a straight ahead guy. And but no, I've seen kickers who were once really good kickers, and as they get older, some of them just have a little slump and they can get out of it, but some of them really end up getting the yips.
You know what, Mo? I'm sorry. The guy I hated the most on the Browns years ago, couldn't stand him, was Mark Mosley.
Oh, jeez.
I could not stand this guy. He seemed to be Mr. Pristine. His uniform had to be nice and, beautiful. But I hated this guy. I sucked. Maybe I'm wrong. What was your take on it? Or no take?
So, but I don't think anybody in the Baltimore media is calling him a loser. Yet we're calling our kicker, who's 10 for 10 from 50 yards out since he's come to the team, a loser for committing one penalty. This is the kind of thing that I refer to.
Cockcroft's Wikipedia page is amazing. He was drafted in the 3rd round, pick 55, 1967. Yep. He spent from 1968 to 1980 with the Cleveland Browns, the only team he ever was on.
Yep.
But have a guess at what his field goal percentage is.
Oh, no, it is not that good because back then it was a very different game. I would not
be muddy and rainy and snowing and
67%.
That's no spot on. 65.9.
That was like going to be guess. Wow.
You see, it was a different game back then. But the fact of the matter was he was considered a good kicker at his day. And he was following Lou Groza. So at that point, until 1980, the Browns had only had 2 place kickers in their entire history.
Yeah.
Which is really unbelievable.
Well, and back then, Lou Michaels used to kick for the Colts. It was a different kicking game back then.
Yeah.
And let's talk about some other winners. All right. Instead of focusing on what they call losers. The ratings of the players on defense.
Okay.
The highest rated was Isaiah McGuire at a 78.4. He played 19 snaps. Why is that significant? Because he needs to spell people.
Correct.
And if you take a look at why, Myles Garrett was next with a 67.1, and he only played 41 snaps. Alex Wright was a 61.5 playing 33 snaps, but he got the big sack of the game. All right. On defensive tackle, and we know that this was a problem defensively because we lost some help. Sam Kamara had a 74.2 rating in 17 snaps. Dalvin Tomlinson had a 70 in 24 snaps. And then it went down Shelby Harris with a 57 and Quentin Jefferson with a 56.7. All right.
Is 100% the best you can get?
It's not a percentage. It's a new, if you are in the 90s, it's exceptional.
Yeah. You have to be God to get into the 90s.
Right.
Amsterdam's asking a fair question about Michael Hall Jr. What is his status? Do you know? Any idea?
They're letting it play out, and that takes a while. The fact of the matter is,
there's no news about that.
I don't believe I don't believe that either one of those 2 people are innocent of anything really, except the mistake of being together and of setting each other's alarms off. I don't know.
Okay, so there's no update, basically. I didn't really want to dredge up the whole story about him, but people can look it up if they're interested.
Right. Now, in the linebacker slot, Koromoa had a 66.5, but he played 59 snaps. Devin Bush only played 3 snaps, and Jordan Hicks played 53.
He looked good, I thought.
Well, he had a sack, but he was at a 58.7. But the bottom line is we didn't have the depth going at linebacker. So Koromoa played 59 snaps, and that's like almost every snap in the game.
What do you think of his helmet?
Silly looking.
Yeah,
I mean,
I just
you know what it
shoot.
kind of looked like?
Mr. Magoo. Mr. Magoo.
Oh
No,
no,
no.
Kazoo from the Flintstones.
Yeah. Gazoo.
Yeah, the green Martian guy. from the
Right.
Flintstones.
Right.
And the other one it looked like he looked like Jamiroquai, the
Wow.
singer. Yeah.
Ooh, instant insanity.
Instant insanity. You have to look this up and get a kick out of what I'm saying, because Jamiroquai is not remembered for anything.
Well,
except that one
he's
song.
English anyway, so I don't even know
Yes.
he made it to America.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what it reminded
he's-
me of. But
America.
at cornerback, Denzel Ward had a 90.4, and he was only on the field, according to this, 11 snaps. What happened to Denzel Ward?
Really?
I don't know.
Concussion.
I don't know what. Has anyone heard why this would be that he would only be on the field for 11 plays? So I don't know. Cameron Mitchell, though, with a 71.5 and 41 snaps, came up really strong. Greg Newsome got beat on the deep pattern. He had a 63.7, but he played 58 snaps. Martin Emerson Jr. gutted it out and played 58 snaps with a 60.1, and Mike Ford played 2 snaps with a 60. And then at safety, Ronnie Hickman made good 75.4 and 42 snaps. Rodney McLeod, nice to have him back. 32 snaps, a 72 rating.
Wow.
Grant Delpit, a 63.7 and 60 snaps. He played every snap. And DeAnthony Bell, only 2 snaps played. To put this in perspective, the best offensive grades for the Jaguars, Travis Etienne at a 74.8 and Dearness Johnson at a 71.3. And the substitute tight end, Brenton Strange, who had a 69 and 41 snaps. But the fact that 2 of their 3, and really 2 of their 3 were running backs of their best offensive grades, and none of them were wide receivers,
No.
that's going to tell you why this game was lost. Because Trevor Lawrence did not play well, was not finding his outside receivers.
Right.
Christian Kirk was nowhere to be seen. It was like,
Except they should have won the game.
well, the game was up in the air. They had every reason to win. They were the home team and they had momentum.
Yeah.
And the head coach decided to not go for a touchdown. And
Yeah.
I don't move on that opinion. You strike while the iron's hot, because momentum shifts. It all changes
Yeah.
so
Well,
damn quickly.
Isn't like Doug Peterson like a perpetual interim like position coach? He isn't
No,
like
he's been a head coach
material.
for a while now, and look, I like Doug. He was good for the Browns. He years ago he did a wonderful job for us as a backup quarterback and a study for Bernie Kosar. I mean, I have nothing bad to say, except I disagreed with what he chose to do. It was like his first impulse was to go for it immediately, and he second guessed himself. And from that point, the game changed.
Yeah.
So it happens. That's just pointing out more winners. Here's more winners again. At the quarterback position, Deshaun Watson with a 72.2. Jameis Winston came in and did his thing when he sneaked a couple of times, including the fake sneak that earned us 36 yards.
Yeah,
to the line
that's
of scrimmage.
actually a damn good play
Yeah, that was the best play of the game.
that worked. Yeah.
And running backs, Jerome Ford with a 62.4, 32 snaps. And that's predicated on the one big 36-yard run. Deontay Foreman, a 55.7, and Pierre Strong, a 43.2. But Jerry Jeudy's 80.8 tops everybody, and he played 57 snaps. So he played a really good game.
Yeah, he did.
And David Bell, for his brief season,
He's dead now.
had a 78.7, And he did what he does, which is he ran short little patterns and fell to the ground. But unfortunately, the last time he didn't get up. Elijah Moore with a 64.1.
He sucked.
Cedric Tillman played 26 snaps, was invisible on the field except for one broken play reception. And Amari Cooper at a 46 rating.
Yeah.
And he was in there for every
Wow.
snap.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is unusual.
Yeah, that play where he lost the first down.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, that was just wrong on so many levels.
But, when, again, your top rated people are wide receivers and not running backs, the quarterback has to have something to do with that. But nowhere is this man's name being spoken about, and he won the game just like everybody else won the game. So, and this is why I have cleaned up the people who are on the program, because I don't want any more quarterback hate or any more hate toward the team. The fact of the matter is there's nothing hateful about the team. The team made the playoffs last year, and they ended up losing with a 40-year-old quarterback against a young up-and-coming team. But let me tell you this. For all, and Big Ounce, the guy we had on the program here, who is the big Texans fan, he's been talking, as good fans do, talking up his team. They haven't really looked for shit. They're 2-0, but they barely beat the Colts. And my God, the Colts couldn't beat Green Bay
They're awful.
They don't have a quarterback, and they couldn't beat them.
Is Minshew quarterbacking for Baltimore? Or
yeah, well, Minshew, they let
He's at Green Bay, isn't he, or somewhere?
Minshew was the one who beat them.
yeah.
He's at Green Bay.
And it's just
No, the Raiders. Sorry, the Raiders. The Raiders beat the fucking Colts. Or I don't know.
No,
I'm confused
the Raiders
now.
beat the Ravens. Yeah.
Raiders. Minshew is with the Raiders, who beat the Ravens.
He's
Okay.
with the Raiders.
Yeah, he's with the
Yeah,
Raiders.
I don't know. I don't keep up with that.
Well.
But again, it's the quarterback has something to do with it, and the quarterback definitely had something to do with the Jaguars losing.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
And other winners there, and they do finally mention Alex Wright later on in another story, because he made a big play, and that's wonderful. But it's the defense as a whole that rose to the occasion that kept them off the board when it was important to do so. 4 sacks on the quarterback, and it didn't look like Trevor Lawrence had anywhere to throw the ball. He looked indecisive in the pocket, and the one ball that he threw up in the air, his receiver got separation against a smaller defensive back, and he caught the Browns in a lineup, in a full out, another one of those full out kind of forcing man-to-man coverage, put pressure on the quarterback blitzes.
And that other huge play where they rubbed out Denzel Ward too. Those are the only 2 good plays. Yeah.
And the fact that, and I'm not saying this to be funny, but
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson is a winner in the game because he finished the game and he didn't get injured.
Yeah,
He was sacked twice. Twice he sacked, and but he was still hit 8 times. Still got hit 8 times.
He had that horrific late hit against him that was like 2 seconds after the play. Somebody hit him straight in the back.
Yeah.
Did they get ejected from the game?
No.
No, they didn't.
Nope.
Hey, what was there? Was there 2 roughing the passers on the Browns?
No, on them.
On them.
Well, no, yeah, on them. But I mean, we were the beneficiaries of.
Yeah, they were trying to late hit him. There's no question.
Yeah.
And the league isn't going to stand up for him any more than they stand up for Myles Garrett, who hasn't had any legal problems whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, the other thing that is really essential to understand why the Jaguars lost and why the Browns won were negative plays. The Browns had 9 tackles for loss, including 2 each from JOK and Grant Delpit. And Koromoa had 7 solo tackles.
Yeah.
So, again, when you force a quarterback like Fabio to be in second and third long situations, it creates a completely different environment for that player. And
but they never do negative stats on him. You never see it pop up.
No,
like, I'm like 20% completion under pressure, or after I've been, when I get hit or something. You never see that shit pop up on the screen.
I saw with my own eyes that when they were moving that ball down the field before Peterson just backed out of going for it on 4th down, they were getting a rhythm. He was throwing the ball short and intermediate, and virtually a huge percentage of his passing yardage came on that drive.
Yeah.
And he was finally getting the tempo, and I was thrilled that they didn't go for it, because it was like, he's starting to see things, and that's the last thing, But then when he got the ball back, he went back to being Fabio again,
Yeah.
And
Brian M is right there.
Yeah. The reason is because the way that Myles Garrett rushes, he has an inordinate ability to be like Gumby, and he can bend and get so low to the ground that players will ride him to the ground, and that incorporates grabbing him from the back side, because the front of his body has already turned the corner and gotten in front of them, and they drag him to the ground. And I think that if he were more upright, they'd be calling more of those, but he is a unique talent in the sense that he is able to rush that way. So that's part of it. And you can take it the rest of the way with your imagination.
Well, the thing that still leaves me wondering is like whether there's anything lingering from that stupid auto wreck that he had. I don't know how many months ago that was, but you got to think that something catastrophic like that, where you roll your car over like 4 times, is going to fuck you up permanently somewhere.
In some way, some form, and something I didn't mention yesterday at all, or the day before, another back surgery for Tiger Woods.
Oh, that's gotta hurt.
I mean, it's like, and now he's looking forward to playing golf again. It's like, dude, what's the matter with you? He's the Denzel Ward of golf.
Yeah, well, if things are making you ill, don't do them. I mean, that's what we tell Tua, we told Denzel Ward, all that. It applies to everyone. So,
And something, I have no doubt that this is true, that Amari Cooper will get his act together. I have no doubt about that. And I think it's going to happen this coming game against the Giants. I really do.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not riding him hard. I'm just questioning why he would have gone backwards. That just didn't seem like him. And yes, exactly. It's unfortunate, but he's having yet another microdiscectomy. This will be his 7th, and
I think it's almost like an addiction.
It doesn't work. It's like plastic surgery.
Well, no,
the more you get, the worse you get.
The point I'm trying to make here is that he's addicted to the being on the tour and being Tiger Woods, the golfer, and all that he doesn't know when to quit. Like, Tom Brady was addicted to being a quarterback, and Mike Tyson and George Foreman boxed way too long into their lives. I think it's because they can't pull themselves away that they end up submitting themselves to even more punishment and a really bad life as a senior, So,
yeah. And other things just of interest. I wanted just again to say that I'm really happy that the Browns won. It wasn't the way I wanted them to win. That wasn't what I wanted.
No style points really, but
no, but that's what it comes down to. They were better than they were the week before, and I hope that they'll be better this coming week.
Well, That's when I entered the show yesterday. When it gets close like that, I saw the writing on the wall, and I'm just going by Browns' past history. I knew they were going to lose, and I didn't want to watch it. And
Right.
that's why when I first
turned
came
it
on
off.
the show, I asked you, I said, did they win or lose?
Right.
You know, I can't watch again when they. To me, it's inevitable they're going to lose, and that's what I saw yesterday.
Well, we haven't really been doing that quite so badly in the Stefanski era. What does bother
Yeah.
me about the Stefanski era is that we get these victory Mondays, and then we fucking lay an egg the next fucking week against a team that we're rated against. You know, we're like 7-point favorites against the Giants.
Well, we have a chance to do it right in front of our home crowd this time.
Well, I fucking hope so.
Yeah, well, I hope so too. And I'm sure the Cowboys are saying the same thing to themselves.
Yeah.
So it isn't just the Browns. I mean, the fact is they drubbed us, yes, but they're 1-1 just like we are.
Yeah.
So, the Panthers have benched Bryce Young. They're going to start ageless Andy Dalton instead against the Raiders.
Really?
Yep. So, you have that. I mean,
He's got to be like 15 years older than Bryce Young.
Bryce Young passed for 84 yards to tie
That's
for the
not
fourth
good.
fewest in team history.
But how is putting in Andy Dalton going to make them a better team? I mean, they have a shit roster.
Yeah, but what they're saying is he at least understands the offense. The
Okay,
third
there you
player in the past 20 seasons to average 4 or fewer yards per drop back, Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. And then what I mentioned at the beginning of the program, the Titans coach Callahan, my God, he doesn't regret the feelings he had after he received viral criticism based of,
That's got to be one of the nicest people in the NFL.
I mean, the fact of the matter is, Will Levis was bad. He made a Deshaun Kaiser play, and we know how we used to scream when he would just throw the ball up in the air.
Oh, and Brandon Whedon did the same thing, and Brady Quinn was.
Yeah.
They all panicked. Yeah.
And Mr. Mathis, Judge Mathis, I think right now what this is telling me is that these players were not taught this new offense, and he is trying to steady a ship.
Yeah.
Stefanski is off course. If he tries to play nothing but that new offense, the team is not ready.
Fall apart, yeah.
And without starters at vital positions, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, we still look like a preseason team out there on offense. We look like we're in preseason. We don't look like a settled team at all.
No.
So, that's
we wasted first-round picks on some of these guys too. Not Kaiser, but wow.
Oh, I have nightmares from old coaches, old players, and this is not anywhere to be compared with the Hugh Jackson years and some of the people that played the quarterback position for the Cleveland Browns. I don't know why people are getting so excited about this now. It's the times we live in, probably. But the fact is, we've been in a lot worse shape than we are right now, and that's what this show's about. Is that
we've gone
give
all
it
the
a
way
chance
to
from
December
week to
without a win.
I think we're on the upside. I really do.
Well,
I think the organization, the people we got in the team, I think all arrows are pointing up.
Well,
wow.
What I would say is this. I don't like the reason you install the new offense and you use it, but it just never in preseason, nor so far I haven't seen that anybody has benefited from this. And the team is not able to throw downfield for more than one reason. First of all, I just don't think we have those types of wide receivers. Second of all, the time to throw isn't there when you've got a patched up offensive line. And I think that throwing timing patterns, takes advantage of guys who run better patterns but don't necessarily have straight line speed, and that's what we have. So
You know what
that's
we
the
really
reason.
need to see from the wide receivers is them helping out Watson when he starts scrambling, because he's got this shit offensive line with no tackles, and he's going to be scrambling. They got to be looking for him to give him an outlet to throw the ball to down the field more than 2 yards. You know?
Well, I kind of disagree, because I think every team goes through the same thing. Not every play works. Yeah, I think, I don't know. I'm just observing. I think we're doing pretty good. I really do.
All right, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you the play that I was talking about. All right, because I watch a lot of different games. After the game is over, there are other things like, oh, okay, this is what happened in this game. I want to see what kind of turn things around in certain games. And this is interesting. I am going to now attempt to present a screen if I can, but it's not letting me do it. That's really bizarre.
Hey, Frank.
Oh, wait, there we go. There we go. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
And now all I have to do is go this way, and I'm going to share this. This is the play I was referring to with Levis as quarterback. I want you to watch this play, and this is what we used to put up with in Cleveland. So I'm showing this play so that people, stop the hate at the quarterback position for the Browns, because this
is worse.
Oh, this is what we had to live with for such a long time. Yeah. And I wonder if this will, if I can blow this up to full screen. Let's see. Tell me if this is working, would you?
Yeah, it's better. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right.
Perfect.
So here we go. This is the play.
Here we go. Oh my Lord.
That's when they're at the 10-yard line.
He's lucky he didn't get that run back for 90 yards the
Look
other
at
way.
That!
If that was Cleveland, that would have been a touchdown the other way instead of a dead ball there.
I mean, you've got to be kidding me.
Was that yesterday?
That was yesterday, yeah.
No
all my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay.
Wow.
No, but Bronk, I wanted to say, I think the only consistent team out there that really pushes the ball downfield on a consistent basis, who do you think I'm thinking of?
What, puts up offense all the time, every time
they
play? The 49ers generally do that, but they didn't really yesterday. The Eagles can do it. Kansas City can do it. Yeah, but they relied on a 4th and 16 dodgy penalty to win their game. So which I was in mixed mood about because it was the Bengals.
But I mean, most of their receivers are catching the ball in motion, where Browns receivers are usually stopped when they catch it.
Well, yeah, I mean, we don't have that outlet like Kelsey is at the moment. We don't have Big Chief around. Throw the ball to. I think,
and if we're a running team, DeAndre, we have a lot of hurt because we don't have a running back who really is consistent. I thought that Foreman at least ran with some authority, but
well, yeah.
Anytime that Ford goes east-west, he's thrown for a loss, and Pierre Strong just stops running. I don't know what the hell that's all about.
We need Eric Metcalf again. A fast runner.
Up the middle, yeah.
We need Jim fucking Brown. But anyway.
And this is the best way of putting it. Ugly wins are still wins. I'd rather be like this now and get it together later than start hot and fumble down the stretch. Thank you. That's well put.
We can all.
Well put.
I'll give him a round of applause to Red.
All right. So the Guardians will be playing at 6:40. They won yesterday, picked up a game because the Royals lost to the Pirates.
I noticed something about that. If the Guardians win their game against the Twins and the Tigers beat the Royals, there's a chance that the Tigers could actually get a wild card spot because they're only like 2 games back of the Twins.
Look, if they sweep us, if the Twins were to sweep us, they'd only be 2 games behind us.
Correct.
That's there's wild. A lot at play here, and the Guardians need to, they're 7-2 this year against the Twins, and they've got to keep bringing the heat because Kansas City will. Kansas City's got some good starting pitching, and they barely lost a squeaker 4-3 against the Pirates. They're getting good starting pitching, and they've rebounded from the loss of Pasquarino, the guy who was carrying them with a lot of power. His injury, they were just about gone. They started losing a lot of games in a row. So that's happening at 6:40. So be tuned in for that one.
Oh, that's soon. That's
30
minutes from now.
And I want to say that is it Cobb who is starting, or is it Boyd?
I think one of them's got a blister, and the other one's starting the game. I'm sure Rick May.
Okay. So that was Boyd, the left-hander, who's going to be starting, and he's been pitching very well for us. So, we can hope. We can always hope.
No, you need to slag off somebody so they end up having a 3-hit game, and like pick on Walter Brennan or whatever who's playing tonight. You need
to
Moo, somebody.
Let me ask you your opinion. Somebody said I looked like Walter Matthau the other day. What do you think?
A bit of the eyebrows, maybe.
I thought Walter Matthau's face was always melting off.
Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to do something from The Odd Couple, the original movie with Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau, and and Felix Unger says to him, "You've come home late, and I made linguine for you, and now it's cold." And what you have to do is pick up the plate of linguine, throw it to the wall until it's sliding down, and say, "Now it's garbage." Then you would look like Walter Matthau.
Wow,
now it's garbage.
That's amazing.
Yeah, pretty good.
Now it's garbage.
I got to get out of here.
All right.
Thanks a lot, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate it. And we'll be back again end of the week Friday. Talk about the next game. Got to win that one, too.
One game at a time, one show at a time.
Thanks for allowing me and Bronk in.
Oh, you're very welcome. And thanks, everybody. And I'm doing this specifically so that others will feel free to come back in and hopefully that
it is what it is, man.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. And until next time, hasta la vista, Pasture Heads. Good night.